Okay.
Okay, so it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the planning board meeting to order. This is the April 7th, 2020 planning board meeting. And the first item on the agenda is Matt wanted to make a statement.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick statement before you get into the script that you had included in your packet. I just wanted to acknowledge a few things before we get into the case continuances tonight. First, I honestly just want to thank all of you for doing this. I know it's kind of an uncomfortable system if it's your first time, but I think it's just a show of how adaptable everybody is. So I really, really appreciate it. Just to point out for folks who haven't used this before, if you're only seeing the person that's talking, at the top of the screen or at the bottom of the screen, depending on what device you're using, you do have the ability to switch between views. I have mine set to view everybody right now. I think that's likely the best way to do it. And I see that Peter's now on the call. I did want to mention for the record as well that this is being live streamed both on YouTube and on community television. I want to thank Tim and his team for doing that, and he's on. So Tim, if there's anything that you need us to do as we go through this, please just chime in and let us know if something isn't working well. I had said initially that everyone will be unmuted, and well, that's still the case on the board. If you want to do something else when you're on the call, please just do mute yourself before you do that, or if you need to turn off your camera for a second, if you have someone in your house or something like that. And then a couple just other comments. The applicants were fantastic in continuing or agreeing to continue this evening's hearing. I really want to thank them. I think I can speak the conversations I had with them that it wasn't easy for any of the applicants. I think many of them have some concerns about the delay that this puts on their project. However, all of them were very understanding of the situation that we're facing and the fact that it's unprecedented, and they were all agreeable ultimately to doing this. That said, I am working with the applicants more intensely than usual to get them comments and to allow them to revise their submissions in advance of the May meeting that these will likely be heard at. And the goal there is really to ensure that the applications that you all have to review are in the most complete form and most action-ready form possible. I think that's critical. And therefore, I'll be doing sort of an enhanced review and dialogue with each of the applicants before that meeting that you hear the cases at in May. A few housekeeping items. Abutters were noticed, obviously, of this continuance. And so that's why you don't see them on the call. However, they were told they're welcome to attend, and naturally all of the public do have the ability to call into the meeting if they so wish. All of the application materials, at least as the applications exist today, are posted to the planning board website. If you go to the planning board website and you go on the left-hand side, there's a meeting materials section, and you're welcome to look at the applications, but I would just caution that it's possible those application materials will change in advance of the May meeting based on what I've just said before. I've been working and will continue to work actively with not only you, the board, but the applicants, abutters, and the public to determine what the format of the May meeting will be when we have these public hearings that you'll vote on this evening. At this time, like anything, it's very uncertain. I've recommended continuance to a time and date certain on these, but we know that could change, and I'll do my best to update you as our circumstances become more, I guess, clear to us. We've also made applicants aware that at the time of the meeting in May, they will be essentially prohibited, unless the board otherwise allows, from submitting new documents or plans at the time of the meeting. My opinion is that it makes it functionally impossible for the board to review and absorb any new material, particularly in this format. And therefore, I'm suggesting that they take the next month working with me directly to ensure that their applications are as prepared as possible. And with that, I just wanted to make those remarks and thank everybody for joining the call in this manner. I know it's a little bit new, but I'll pass it off to Kathy for the script.
Oh, okay. Well, before we proceed, one of the items on the agenda was appointment of a temporary chairperson, but our rules of procedure say that the planning board has to elect offices in April, and we do have another meeting scheduled in April. So does anybody have any problem with continuing to chair this meeting?
No, no, I was going to recommend that we continue the officers of the preceding year to ensure continuity and to recognize that this is an unusual circumstance, and then re-elect or elect new officers at the next meeting that we have in April. So if you want a formal nomination, I'd be happy to nominate Kathy Barnard and Vaughn Dugan as chair and co-chair respectively for this temporary officers for today's particular meeting.
Okay, would somebody be willing to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so Mike Hodder made a motion. Brad Harriman has seconded the motion. And do we need a roll call vote, Matt?
Yes, that's right, Kathy. So for the format of tonight, I'll do a roll call vote, asking each of you to vote individually. So I'll start first, Kathy, with you. Just a yes or no answer is all that's necessary.
Yes, and no one is in the room with me.
Yes, thank you for indicating. Thank you for indicating. Okay, is that a yes, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Vaughn?
Yes, no human is in the room with me.
No, okay. A dog, it does not count. Yes, that's correct. Peter Goodwin?
Yes.
Thank you. Is anyone in the room with you, Peter, for the purpose of
My
the
wife
meeting?
is.
Okay, thank you. Brad?
I vote yes, and there's nobody in the room with me.
Okay, Mike?
I vote yes, and there are no sentient beings in the room with me.
Okay, and Susan?
Yes, there's no one in the room. I'm not sure why that matters.
It's required under law. It's very odd. I think it's further evidence that we're all very sad and lonely people. They just want to make it. They want to rub it. They want to rub it in a little bit more. But I thank you, each of you for doing that.
Okay, well, okay, so that's a favorable vote.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, and the next item, Brad just mentioned that when we have the public hearings, which we're not having any tonight, all we're doing is reading these items into the record and scheduling them for the May meeting, but he will have a conflict on the Harriman Hill applications. There are 3 of them. I also will have a conflict on Harriman Hill and the hospital. So is it okay if we continue, if I just read the items into the record and we'll continue if Brad and I participate? Is it okay with you folks?
Yes, absolutely.
I see no conflict in continuations.
Okay, and Matt, is that enough for that issue?
I think that's enough. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. Now, folks, I have to read the script. It's required by the state, so you'll have to bear with me. Good evening and welcome to the April 5th. It's April 7th. Meeting of the Wolfeboro Planning Board. As chair of the Planning Board, due to the coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are, and I'm going to go through a list of items. We are A, providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing the GoToMeeting platform for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the GoToMeeting platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing the following phone number: 1-646-749-3122. And then the password is 918 242-429, followed by the pound sign. The next item, B, providing the public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using GoToMeeting, and instructions are provided on the Town of Wolfeboro website at wolfeboronh.us. Next item, C, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or computer, please immediately call 603-391-8489. That's Matt's cell phone, or email at planningdirector@wolfeboronh.us. The next item, D, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled at that time. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. I'd like to start the meeting with a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, and really we've already done this, also state if anyone is in the meeting room with you. This is required under the right to know law. Next item, members of the board will be unmuted for the entirety of the meeting. Members of the public will be muted for the meeting with the exception of public comment portions or public hearings. Thank you. So now, Matt, do we need to call another roll since
No, I don't believe that you do, Kathy, but I did want to ask, I believe there's one individual on the phone or one person who's not identified. Is there a person that hasn't identified themselves? Okay, it's not really, there's an additional name on the roster, but I'm not sure who that is. But Kathy, I think you've satisfied the roll call vote for presence.
Okay. Oh, okay, then now we can go on to the agenda. And the first item is an action item. It's for 276 Pleasant Valley Road. This is the voluntary merger. Pamela A. Clifford, this tax map and lots 234-007 and 234-007-001. We've had discussions about this merger. There was an issue with a zoning, that it was not in conformance with their zoning ordinance. Matt, did you want to speak a little to this issue, because the issue now has been resolved?
Yes, I'd be happy to. And I did want to note as well that information about the resolution was included in a prior meeting packet. So I apologize, it's not in the packet you received for this meeting, but functionally what's happened is the applicant has submitted a demolition permit or raise permit for one of the structures on the property. It's a large structure on the right-hand lot, or the eastern lot, as we looked at the properties before. And I understand it's a little difficult to understand exactly which structure it is without having the visual in front of you. I am willing to share my screen if that might be helpful to the board, but the applicant has submitted the permit. They're willing to remove the structure. And in my opinion, that does resolve the non-conforming structure issue that the board had discussed at a prior meeting. Again, I do understand that without the formal memo in front of you, it may be a bit challenging to take action on this tonight. But I believe that the nonconformity that the board had expressed concern about has been resolved, if you are willing to do that.
Matt, can I ask a question? Which lot is the structure going to be raised on?
You know what, Mike? Would everyone be comfortable with me giving the screen sharing a shot here?
Sure.
Okay, give me
Sure.
one moment here, because I think I'd actually like to try this, and I hate to bore you all with trying to figure it out, but I'd like to show you exactly where this structure is. So just give me one moment here, and I will have it ready for you. Just give me 1 second.
While you're doing that, I have a question, and that is, I thought we were just going to continue all of this.
So Vaughn, this was the only item that I was recommending that the board actually take action on this evening, in addition to the minutes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we've discussed this many times before, at least twice in the month of February.
that's correct, yes. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen for those who can see it. And I'm hopeful that this works for everybody.
Oh,
Can everybody see this screen here?
That's
Yes.
a lot.
Yes, Mike, it's the lot, it's the right-hand lot with the multitude of accessory structures.
Yeah,
This structure circled in red is a separate detached structure that existed behind this larger structure in the front here.
yeah.
So that's the structure that is proposed to be removed. And you can see in my notes here, the applicant has submitted a demolition permit for it, and I would recommend approval if you're comfortable.
so that brings a non-conforming situation more into conformance. Is that correct?
It functionally, so there are several components of the two lots that are brought closer into conformance, but the number of structures is a net 0 after this modification. Does that make sense, Kathy?
What
Yes.
do you mean? A net? What do you mean a net 0?
It's a net 0 as far as increase or decrease. Under the old proposal,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. That's fine.
yes, yeah, it's a net neutral increase decrease.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd be perfectly happy to move to approve.
Okay. Let me just
Oh.
turn off my screen if I can figure that out, so I can take your votes down. I'm sorry. Give me one moment. Actually, you know what? I can put the votes right up on the screen.
Okay, so Mike has made a motion to approve this merger. Somebody want to second that motion?
Seconded.
Okay.
So
Was that Vaughn or Susan?
Vaughn.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. And
I'll do a roll call, Kathy.
I'm going to say all in favor, and then Matt is going to do the roll call.
Perfect. Okay, so Kathy.
I vote in favor of the merger.
Okay. Vaughn.
Yes.
Okay. Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Susan.
I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that issue is favorable vote, and the merger can take place.
Excellent.
Going to go on to the next item, which are the scheduled appointments and public hearings. And all of these hearings are to be continued to May 5th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And it says in the Great Hall and Town Hall, but on here, but I don't know if that's the case or not. Or
Yeah, Kathy. So I think that you should take an action to continue to a place certain.
Oh.
I know it seems odd, and I think that
Okay.
the governor's executive or emergency orders cover this, but I just felt uncomfortable not having a place certain.
okay,
But just to clarify, we will be sending new notices to the paper and to abutters at the time that we actually decide how to handle that meeting. I just want to clarify that so everybody understands.
Okay.
okay. So these will all be continued to May 5th in the Great Hall and Town Hall.
That's
And
correct.
the first public hearing item to be held at 7 p.m. is Abby W. Brown Trust of 2012 at 10 Burrows Lane, tax map 150-33, case 2020-08. This is a special use permit for construction in the wetlands buffer and setback. Public hearing and a roll call is needed to continue this item.
If I could just make one note, Madam Chair, I would also recommend that when you continue the public hearing to 7 p.m., you also continue the site visit to 6:30 p.m. the same evening.
Oh, okay, all right, so
Okay.
if we could add that for the site visit at 6:30.
And just for the record, because I anticipate that we'll be in a period of continued social distancing, I would recommend that members visit the site independently, although we will be noticing the site visit. I would really recommend that folks go there individually just to make sure that you actually get a chance to see the site.
Okay.
And so now you're going to call the roll.
Do we have a motion for that?
Oh, yeah, that's true. We do need a motion.
So
Somebody,
moved.
a motion to
Okay.
continue this item.
Peter Goodwin, so moved.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you, Vaughn. Peter?
Okay, and so the motion has been seconded. Okay,
Excellent. Kathy Barnard.
I vote in favor of the continuance.
Okay, Von Dugan.
Yes.
Thank you. Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you. Brad Harriman.
Yes.
Mike Hodder.
Yes.
And Susan Repler.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. On to the next item that will be at 7:15, Huggins Hospital, 240 South Main Street, tax map 231-90E, case 2020-14. This is a site plan review for the primary care center renovations, which include the parking lot and a salt shed construction. And this will be a public hearing, and I need a motion to continue this item until May 5th at 7:15.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. Well, motion has been made and seconded, and Matt, would you call the roll?
Yes, give me one moment here, please. Okay, Kathy Barnard.
Okay, I vote in favor of the continuance.
Thank you. Von Dugan.
Yes.
Thank you. Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Brad Harriman.
Yes.
Thank you. Mike Hodder.
Yes.
And Susan Repler.
I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. On to the next item. Would be at 7:50 p.m. Wolfeboro Village Townhouses, Robert and Diane Fortin at 33-7 Endicott Street, tax map 217-119-7, case 2020-09. This is a site plan review for the addition of a deck to unit number 7, and this will be for a public hearing. Would somebody be willing to make a motion to continue this item until May 5th?
Motion to continue.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Motion has been made and seconded. And Matt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, I will. Kathy Barnard.
Yes.
Thank you. Von Dugan.
Yes.
Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Peter, you sound exhausted with this process already. Brad Harriman.
Yes.
Thank you. Mike Hodder
Yes.
and Susan Repler.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, folks. All right, the next three I'm going to read together, and then we can continue them as one. We'll be holding the public hearing as one public hearing, but voting on them separately. Is that how it's going to go, right? But I'm going to read them all together and make a motion.
Kathy, I think you're able to vote on them all together. They're
Yeah,
all being
yes,
continued. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
I meant, I was jumping ahead to when we ultimately vote on the project in May.
Oh,
But-
okay. Sorry.
Okay, but I'm going to read them together now.
Right.
Okay, all right, and I'm going to get going. This would be at 8 p.m. Eastern Lakes Region Housing Coalition, Beck Drive, Unit C, tax map and lot 176-20-1, case 2020-11. This is a boundary line adjustment, Unit C. The next item, also Eastern Lakes Region Housing Coalition, Inc., Beck Drive, Unit C, tax map and lot 176-20-1, case 2020-12. This one is for a condominium subdivision for 20 lots at Unit C for the public hearing. The third item, Eastern Lakes Region Housing Coalition, Inc., Beck Drive, Unit C, tax map and lot 176-20-1, case 2020-13. This item would be for the site plan review for 20 lot residential development or public hearing. Would somebody make a motion to continue these three applications?
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconded.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Matt, would you please call the roll?
Could we just confirm the motion and second on that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think Mike made
Peter
the-
Goodwin was the motion.
Okay, that's okay. Okay,
Von Dugan seconded.
okay,
Oh,
that's what I thought.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
great. Okay, one moment here. Okay, Kathy Barnard.
I vote in favor of the continuance.
Okay. Thank you. Von Dugan.
In favor?
Thank you. Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you. Brad Harriman.
Yes.
Thank you. Mike Cotter.
Yes on each.
Thank you. And Susan Repler.
I vote in favor.
Thank you.
Okay,
Excellent.
thank you. And now on to the last item. This is not a public hearing. This is a pre-application design review. This will be at 9 p.m. Adam and Jacqueline Lauren, Springfield Point Road, tax map and lot 266-4-1, case 2020-10. This is for a 6-lot conservation open space subdivision. And as I mentioned, this will be a pre-application design review. Would somebody make a motion to continue this application?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Matt, would you please call the roll?
Be happy, Kathy Barnard.
I'm in favor of the continuance.
Thank you, Von Dugan.
Yes.
Thank you, Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you, Brad Harriman.
Yes.
Great. Mike Cotter
Yes.
and Susan Repler.
Yes.
Thank you. Excellent. I just want to make one note on this. You may actually be seeing the formal application on this in May rather than this pre-application or conceptual consultation or design review rather. The applicant may choose to proceed based on the comments that I give them when I do my review, and they'll likely just withdraw this design review request, but that remains to be seen.
Okay, but the proper notice and everything would then
Yep.
be made.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, on to the next item. This is the opportunity for public comments. If any member of the public would like to make a comment, now is the time to do that.
It appears there are no members of the public on the GoToMeeting, and I have not received any comments for the board via email.
Okay, thank you. Then go on to the next item, which is other business. Is it necessary to read these items?
No, I don't think it is,
Because
Kathy.
this is for the April 21st meeting.
Right. I think the more critical thing is just to establish that I do hope that the board is willing to meet on April 21st in this format right here to discuss a few work plan items that we're working on making some progress on. This is just a preliminary list. There may be additional items added, or some of these may be removed. But I do want to keep business as usual as possible, and therefore I'd like to make some progress on each of these items and have that mid-April meeting if the board is comfortable.
Oh, okay, are we in a position to also add the CIP appointments or?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So that list of items would be on our next agenda, which is April 21st. And anyone would be able to watch at the go-to-meeting at this format, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Okay. The approval of minutes for March 3rd. Does anybody have any issues with those minutes?
I'm here.
I was not present.
Okay. Matt, I have a couple items.
Okay.
Can I mention what they are? Okay, on page 2, 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, it says Randy Tatro talks about a culvert that would be needed. And I thought it just needed to clarify at the end of the sentence off of Route 28. It wasn't really clear where the culvert was needed. And
Kathy, where on the page? Oh, okay. You're saying so in that
the
fourth
fourth-
paragraph down.
at the where it says Randy Tatro, and just add at the end off Route 28
Okay.
as clarification.
Okay.
Oh, and then on page 10, under new business, I mentioned about the idea of having a water quality chapter in the master plan, and I mentioned that the cyanobacteria committee is up and running and dealing, and the way it reads now, it says that it seemed like the committee feels it's a good idea to hire a consultant. They didn't have anything to do with this. This was my idea. So could we just running, and she feels it's a good idea to hire a consultant. Okay.
Yep, I can change that.
Oh, okay. All right. Any other corrections? Would somebody be willing to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, Mike made the motion. Can someone?
Second.
Oh, okay.
Second, Peter Goodwin.
Motion has been made and seconded. Matt, can you call the roll, please?
I absolutely can. Kathy Barnard,
Yes, I'm in favor of approving the minutes.
subject to the amendments with the motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Vaughn Dugan.
Recused.
Okay, you're saying Peter Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you, Brad Harriman.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike Hodder.
Yes.
Great, and Susan Repler.
I vote to approve.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so folks, have you got any comments or suggestions or concerns before we adjourn?
It worked more smoothly than I thought it might.
Yeah, is everybody comfortable with this format? I mean, it's not
Yes.
ideal, obviously, but I think it's.
I will
every time-
suggest that Matt's ability to put documents up online is exceedingly helpful, and it seems to work, and it's a good thing.
Okay.
Yes, I will add, although I know this will create expectations in the future. One of the things that we've kind of discovered through this process is we've discovered a lot of things that we probably should be doing when we're running normal operations to share applications and materials with the public. We really should be posting the full packet of information for the board online for the public to review, with the exception of any protected information, obviously. We've had a little more time to do that because our offices have been closed. But Peter, I think you're right. I think we should be doing more to share that information publicly on the website as much as possible.
But what I'm saying is that you presented a document here in this session, and that was very helpful for us to see, and it allowed us to know what we were voting on.
Yeah, and actually, while I have you all, I did just want to sort of, if I could briefly, I know everybody's got things to do, but in the event that we do have to point things out on plans at the upcoming meeting, I will plan to show documents on the screen for your review. So I just want to make you aware of that. And I have the ability to annotate and draw on them if necessary. So I'd be happy to do that during the meeting if necessary.
That would be a good thing.
Yeah, and so all of the applicants will be going through their presentations like they do at the meeting, right, Matt?
That's correct. And that's correct, Kathy. And I'll have to work with them pretty closely to make sure that they have the sort of a standardized setup. One of the questions I received at the ZBA meeting last night was whether or not we could potentially set up a presentation room, an actual in-person room, and the applicants could come to that room and make their presentation to the board. I don't know that we're going to do that yet, but I think it is important for me to give them clear expectations for their presentations. But one thing that we may potentially do is actually give them the driver's seat, if you will, to sharing the screen. And what that will hopefully allow them to do is to actually, review plans with the board and take control of what they want to show you all, and also answer questions effectively. I think that would be probably the best way to structure things.
Makes sense.
And I actually, again, while I have you, I'm just going to share my screen very quickly because I wanted to get a sense of whether or not I do have a plan set up on my screen right now. I wanted to get a sense of whether everyone can see this just fine. And it depends, obviously, on the screen that you're using, but I'm hoping that this is fairly visible for folks. This is the Harriman Hill plan set, obviously.
So will you be able to zoom in?
Yes, absolutely, Vaughn. I can zoom right in if let's say that we want to look at the location of, the sewer along Pine Hill Road. I can absolutely zoom in. I can highlight specific things if we want to show something on the plan. We have all of that ability to do that over this package.
Great.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes it really easy.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it might be better in some ways
It is
than what we get at the meeting. So yeah, that's another example of something that might just be a better way of doing things in the future.
I think it's also better for the public.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree. So anyway, I'm going to unshare, but that's the plan. Hopefully that works well, and we'll really work closely with applicants to make sure that they're prepared for the format as well.
Okay, and so you may have other details by our next meeting that you can share with us, right?
Yes. No, absolutely. When you say
Okay.
other details, Kathy, what do you mean by that?
Well, about how this May meeting may take place.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is, as we all know, is changing daily. I see very little chance that we are having an in-person meeting. I just think that it's not, even if we have we're on the other side of this curve, I don't think we'll be far enough on the other side where we want to suggest congregations of people in public spaces. I just find that highly unlikely. And therefore, I think we should we should plan to leverage the technology rather than having the in-person meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Good questions, folks? Okay. Or any other issues? And hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank
Seconded.
Motion has been made and seconded. And Matt, can you call the roll once again, please?
I can't. Now I'm having my first technical issue. I don't know how to get rid of my highlighter, but let me figure this out real quick. That was a motion by Mike and seconded by Vaughn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Kathy.
I'm in favor of adjourning.
Okay, Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Peter.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Brad.
Yes.
Great. Mike
Yes.
and Susan.
I vote in favor.
Thank you very much,
All
everyone.
right. Hey,
really
thank
appreciate
you very much, folks.
And Tim, thank you for recording. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All
All right.
right.